Hello and welcome to Algebra 2, Chapter 1.4. Today we're going to discuss rewriting equations and formulas. So that you know our goals for today, we're going to rewrite equations with more than one variable, and we're also going to rewrite common formulas. And what that means is, if you're looking at the formula for the area of a triangle, can you solve that for either base or height? So that's what we're going to look at. First of all, just a kind of general linear equation here, and the question is, can we solve for y? So if you remember slope-intercept form, it doesn't have to be in slope-intercept form, but this is exactly what you do in slope-intercept form. If I want to get y by itself, I'm going to move everything else to the other side. So we'll subtract 11x from both sides. That cancels, negative 9y equals. So this you can write two different ways. You might want to put the x first, so it's a negative 11x minus 4, or you could write negative 4 minus 11x. The first way would be more in slope-intercept form. It doesn't matter at the moment because we're not headed directly into slope-intercept form. So you pick. Also, kind of the standard way to write things is in alphabetical order with your constant at the end, so that again goes towards that first way. Alright, so to get y totally by itself, I want to divide by negative 9. You can divide individually each term on the right-hand side, or you could just totally divide the right-hand side by negative 9, since we're not headed into slope-intercept form completely. That would be an acceptable answer. Another thing, if you would want to do, you could pull out the negative on the front. And the reason you might want to do that is because then it would cancel with the negative on the bottom and you would just have a little nicer answer there. Alright, so there we solved for y. So we're going to solve for y again, and then we're going to evaluate when x is negative 4 and when x is 2. You could just flat out put in those values one at a time from the beginning, but each time then you're going to have to solve for y. You're going to do all the steps again. So a better way might be, let's just get y by itself, and then we're going to just input numbers on one side. So it looks like we probably want to add x first. So xy equals, I'm going to write it x plus 4, or you could write it 4 plus x. And then to get y by itself, we're going to divide by x, and I would completely just leave it, x plus 4 over x. So there is y, and then if I want to evaluate it for negative 4, we have negative 4 plus 4 divided by negative 4. That would be 0 because you're going to get 0 on top. And then if we evaluate it for 2, we're going to get 6 over 2, which is 3. So the nice part there was having all the x's on one side, y on the other side. All we had to do was plug in our x, and we had our answer. So we're going to sell some hats, basic hats and fancy hats, and we want to write an equation with more than one variable that represents the total revenue. So revenue is the money that you bring in, and we probably are going to have upwards of about 5 variables here. Because if I want my revenue is going to equal, well, so how many basic hats am I going to sell, and how much do I charge for each one? Right, that would be how much money I get in. So if I sell 10 and I charge $5 a piece, there's $50. But if I sell 10 and charge $10 a piece, there's $100. So we are going to multiply there. So I might do something like XB, and let's X be the cost and B be the number for the basic hats. And we're going to add to it plus fancy hats. Let's just say YF. So again, you have a cost of that fancy hat, and you have a number of fancy hats, and we add that all together. We're going to get how much money we're going to bring in. You might write that with different variables. That is completely up to you. So we're going to use that now, that equation we just wrote. So, or if you switch to the numbers around, that's fine. So there's what I wrote. And so you expect to sell 125 basic hats at $8 a piece. So $8 times 125 To meet your goal of $1,600, so that's going to be my revenue, $1,600, you need to charge, what would you need to charge for fancy hats? So that's my Y, that was how much they cost. If you can sell 50 fancy hats. And then again, if we can sell 60. So 50Y, and we're going to want to solve for Y. Okay, I'm going to leave that up to you to solve for Y. I think you can all do that. And so solve for Y there, and then again for 60 hats. And so you're going to have two different answers, and we'll go over those answers in class. All right, and lastly for your notes today, some common formulas that you should be aware of. They're on page 28 in your book. I did not leave you much space in your notes, but if you want to jot down a few maybe that you think you'll use a lot. D equals RT comes up a whole lot. That one I would know. Simple interest doesn't come up as much. So I equals PRT. Conversion to temperature, your Fahrenheit to Celsius. You know, that's one I don't always remember, but if I know where to look it up, I can do the problem. You should have memorized area of triangle, area of rectangle, perimeters. Area trapezoid is one you don't use as much. Area of a circle you probably have memorized, and also circumference of a circle. So you might just jot down a few if you think you might need them, or look ahead at those next two examples we're going to do in class. And if you need a certain formula for those, you could write it down. All right, that's what I have for you for 1-4. We'll finish up in class. Let me know if you have any questions, and have a great day.